over 60k energy shield, more than 3k regen, very high damage mitigation, just name a few. Thanks to the tattoos, the build stronger than before. What's up guys, Pidget here. Let's see what things we got on the damage side. Our skill choice is Blade Trap. You throw a trap and when it gets triggered, it will use your weapon and start spinning around like Cyclone, just trap version. This is why it's important what weapon we using, and we need reach 100% accuracy rating using a really cheap weapon, namely Emerald Edge unique weapon. This weapon has a few stats that only exclusive to this weapon. First and the most important part, attack with this weapon have added maximum lightning damage equal to 20% of maximum energy shield, while also give us tons of energy shield. With Trial of the Ancestors, we got a new support gem to our build, and that's the volatility. This will give us more maximum attack damage and less minimum attack damage. Because this is a lightning damage based build, we already have really high maximum hit damage. This will increase even further. The less minimum damage is not really a problem, because by default we have like 20. Yes, 20 minimum damage. The damage range will be higher, but your overall damage is also higher. We can use 4 curses in our build, because using a unique ring, Anathema, our curse limit is equal to our maximum power charges. Every character can have 3 charges, but also taking a plus power charge from the 3, so we can add 4 curse to the build. It's up to you to go full offensive and use all the damage curse, or use 3 damage and 1 defensive curses. I take the defensive route because I think we have enough damage even with 3 curse. So the offensive curses I'm using is the following: Elemental Weakness, Conductivity, Assassin's Mark. Or defensive curses, Enfeeble, which is reducing the damage the enemy deal to us. We can easily generate power and frenzy charges if our enemy is triggering the traps. We also taking Trickster for extra 2 maximum frenzy charges. With this we can have 5 frenzy charge, and we pairing with charge trap support to get our trap throwing speed fast as possible. The build scaling very heavily from our energy shield, so I try to quality up all the armor pieces to at least 29% to get more damage in the build. Every little energy shield point is matters to this build, so before you starting crafting your gear, quality up with perfect fossils. Also worth to mention, you can use the global defensive increase tattoos, which is giving us 3% per node. I'm replace the dexterity nodes with these tattoos. Right now I'm using 8, but you can also replace all the int nodes to get more energy shield. If I swap now, I could get more than 70k energy shield. The hard part is to get players who willing to trade with you, so I didn't bother. On the defensive side, Trickster doesn't have built-in regen, sadly. So we need to borrow the Pyromaniac Ascendancy passive from Saboteur with Forbidden Flame and Flash. I bought these 2 Javel for 2 Divine total. But there is a big but. The supply very limited right now. I think on the market there is 20 overall. So if you want to buy this, you will have a hard time. Because we choose Trickster, we have access a really interesting node, one step ahead. This will lower the enemy action speed, and if we pairing with summon skitter bots, the enemy will move like a snail, giving us enough time to react. Also worth to mention, you don't have to worry about freeze and chill immunity with this, because it's also increasing your base action speed. We still using Aspect of the Crab. If you not use this aura before, this will give us crab barriers every half second, and it will grant physical damage reduction per crab stack. So even this aura gives us 20% physical damage reduction, but when we take a hit, we will lose all of the stacks. This is when came in handy or high evasion rating. Using Grace aura for evasion rating, so we almost can die from the monster's basic attacks or projectiles. Spell suppression, this is coming from the tree, and the unique boots, auxiliary steps. This will give us a huge chunk of spell suppression and evasion. We stopping here for a little. We need to reach 100% suppression, but we're using mostly energy shield bases, which is cannot roll suppression. So I'm adding to the build a Watcher Eye with 15% spell suppression if you're affected by Grace. We're using Grace, so this is basically free for us. You need a high rolled one, or you need to use more tattoo with spell suppression. Even I'm using a signal one, because we can't reach 100% other one. If your suppression is not 100%, then you will die to Cirrus Meteor or other spells if you low roll the suppression roll. The really interesting part is our energy shield. Where is the 60k energy shield is coming from? Let's start with the biggest source, or chest piece, Ghost Writer. This chest alone gives us more than 6k energy shield because it will convert our maximum life to energy shield. From now we can scale our life and energy shield in the same time. This is why I have life and energy shield roll on every single piece of gear. We also stacking intelligence to get more energy shield. I reached more than 800 intelligence. We achieving this with int on every possible gear slot. Another big chunk of energy shield is coming from our amulet, Presence of Chayula. It will also convert our maximum life to energy shield. You may be already noticed we're reserving a little less than 50% of our life. I'm using Arctic Armor with Arrogance to get more damage reduction to the build. Worth to mention here, we also using the VAL version of this skill as well. So we can easily tank any big hits like Maven Memory Game or even the Big Brain Explosion if you want to. Maybe you wonder, okay, we have that much energy shield, but we didn't use like Chevron Wrappings or Solarica, so the chaos damage not bypassing the energy shield. This is when another unique item came in, Ash Visage Unique Shield. Chaos damage taken does not bypass or energy shield while not on low life. This is why I mentioned or spell that reserving life. In short, don't reserve more than 50% of your life and you will be safe from the chaos damage. We have Permament Flask uptime. We are achieving this with a few simple things. Maybe you wonder why I'm only using 3 Flasks, because I'm using the Treater keystone from a timeless jewel. Gain 4 charges per empty flask slot every 5 seconds. Alone this is not enough to sustain our flask. We need quality up our flask with Hillock from the Betray mechanic and you need at least 26% quality. You need him in research and he needs to be rank free to get this option. You can also play with different mods on your flask, like flask effect duration, or try to get a timeless jewel with increased flask charge gain. Check the POB before you do anything. If the POB is saying uptime 100%, you're good to go. If the average is under this number, you need more flask charge gain or more duration. Last time you guys asked me about the Coruscating elixir unique flask. If you can make this work, you can swap out the Ash Visage unique shield. But there is a few problems with that. The flask doesn't have 100% uptime even with 28% quality. So you need invest a few units to flask charge gain. Also you will lose chaos resistance, which is important for the endgame bosses. It's true you will have more energy shield like 300 plus and that's 2% more damage. But you have to get a really good shield to outscale Ash Visage. And invest to flask charge gain via timeless jewel and you will lose like 60% increased elemental damage, or get a belt with increased charge recovery for flasks, but that's also really hard to get because we need to use percentage attributes belt with high int, so we will make ourselves harder to craft these items. I POV'd my build with the flask and to get 100% uptime had to sacrifice almost 100k DPS, so in the end I don't think worth the hassle. You guys asked me about mapping. Well, even for me is slow. I mean really slow. I did not mapping with this character, only just doing the invitations or boss fights, but I put here a few mapping footage. So enjoy this really slow paced mapping experience. I never say this is a speed farmer or anything, but I want to show something to you that you can use for fast mapping. I mean really fast mapping. This is also a little teaser for the next build. This build has 300% movement speed, around 5-6 million DPS. For basic mapping, perfect. That's it for this teaser. I would like if you hit the like button like the shaper hitting the adder so it can start spread to more people. Thank you. Few important things you need in the build. Before we starting, you need to quality up all of your items, not just 20%. You need to get like 28 or more quality. You can achieve this with perfect fossils or use Hillock. Now the items. Using a bunch of unique items. Let's start with our weapon. Emerald Edge unique weapon. This weapon has a few important stats that only exclusive to this weapon. First and the most important part. Attack with this weapon have added maximum lightning damage equal to 20% of maximum energy shield, while also give us tons of energy shield. We're using Harvest enchantment. Quality does not increase the physical damage, instead increase critical chance per 4 quality. Ash Visage unique shield. Chaos damage taken does not bypass our energy shield while not on low life. Thanks to this shield, we can have only 600 life and not die to chaos damage. Ghostfright unique body armor. This is the reason why we can scale our energy shield from our life, because this item is converting our maximum life to energy shield, while also giving us tons of chaos resistance. Also worth to mention, try to buy a well-rolled one. Even if it's not 6-linked, you can 6-link yourself. Quality up with healok to 30% and you can 6-link it hopefully easily. Auxiliary Steps unique boots. These give us spell suppression and life. Also bunch of evasion rating, because we can't cap our spell suppression without this. Worth to mention, I got the enchantment from Uberlab. Penetrates 10% elemental resistance if you haven't killed recently. But the best in slot is the plus 120% critical chance if you haven't killed recently. Both mod is always active, because the traps killing the enemies, not we. Presence of Chayula unique amulet. With this we cannot be stunned and converting our maximum life to energy shield, and we anointing Arcane Focus for more energy shield. Anathema unique ring. With this ring we can use 4 curse in our build. Also give us int and a little bit of energy shield. The following implicits you can craft with Eldish currency. Spam till you get the following. On your gloves, inflict lightning exposure on hit and trap throwing speed. Or if you hit the increased critical chance for attacks, good as well. On your helmet, increased attack damage and conductivity has increased curse effect. Worth to mention, we using a helm enchantment. Blade trap rotates plus 1 times. Also we have aspect of crab skill on this item. You can apply this mod from Blood Altar in the menagerie. Flasks we using is a sapphire, topaz and a ruby flask. You need the following mods on the flasks. The order doesn't matter. Only one mod needs to be present on all of the flasks. Increase charge recovery. You need to check the POB for your flask uptime. It needs to be 100%. When you crafting your flask, pay attention, because there is a hybrid mod that also give charge recovery, but you will get less flask effect. The sub mods is the following. Regenerate 3% life during effect. You can get this mod from the betray mechanic when unveiling flask. Reduce mana cost of skills during effect. I'm using additional elemental resistance during effect because it's hard to get the resistance capped. But if you can resistance cap without this, you can go evasion rating effect or critical strike during effect. Pantheons we using major Soul of Solaris for bossing. If you just doing maps, Soul of Ludanis. Minor, Soul of Tukohama, and you need to upgrade to get the regen from this Pantheon. Bandits, 2 passive point. I just want to highlight a few things on the passive tree that you need for the build. Using 8 passive cluster jewel with Smite the Weak, Advanced Guard, and Veteran Defender. 4-point medium cluster jewel with Set and Forget, Guerri Tactics. Forbidden Flame and Flash unique jewel with Pyromania. Brutal Restraint Timeless jewel with this line. Denoted service of Dekhara in the Akhara of Balbala. This will give us the 3-tor keystone. If you can, try to aim increase critical chance or increase elemental damage on the nodes. A Watcher Eye with chance to suppress spell damage while affected by Grace and regenerate energy shield if affected by Discipline. If you can't find this combination, you need to get the suppression one first. Really important. We also using a few tattoos. Here I'm using spell suppression, the rest is increased global defenses. I'm replaced all the dexterity nodes, but pay attention, if you don't have enough dexterity from your gear, you can't replace them till you get more dexterity. Also, if you have patience to buy more global defenses tattoo, you can replace all the int nodes as well. Taking Trickster as our Ascendancy. In your first lap, one step ahead. This will increase your action speed, so you will move faster and throw traps faster. Second lap takes your skiller. There is nothing really to tell about this, just extra frenzy charges. Third lap, Polymath. Sadly, from this node we only gain the more damage parts. The other does not applying to us because the traps killing the enemies, not we. Last lap, Herstopper. This is our defensive part. Gem and gem links, starting with our main link in our body armor, blade trap, charge traps, swift assembly, inspiration, volatility, increase critical damage. When you doing maps, swap out the swift assembly to cluster trap, or curse setup in our gloves, Arcanist brand, enfeeble, elemental weakness, anomalous conductivity. We applying this free curse with Arcanist brand, so we don't have to press more buttons in boss fights. In our boots, clarity, assassin's mark, flame dash, bear trap. Bear trap will increase the damage the enemy will take from our traps. In our shield, arrogance support, arctic armor, and Enlighten level 2. In our helmet or aura setup, Discipline, Summon Skitterbots, Enlighten level 3. In our weapon, Immortal Core, Precision, cost and damage taken. I hope you enjoyed this video about Blade Trap Trickster. If you have any question, please let me know in the comment section below. I would like to say thank you to my Patreons to supporting me. Thanks again guys. Thanks for watching. I was Pidget. See you next time.